Welcome back to the Buds in the Box podcast. The Leafs win 5-2. The boys have been on a hiatus, but we are back. We had lots of exams, but now we're starting the new semester. We don't have as much work, so we're getting back into the pods, trying to get a pod every week. Nonetheless, Leafs win. An amazing game. What did Nylander do? What did he do? He double dipped. He double dipped. In the words of Coach Chippy, he double dipped. And an array of passing that leads the Leafs to victory. We'll start off with Anders Lee. He had 2 goals, first and second period. There is whatever. Like Samsonov, he's been unreal lately. He's 15-4-2 or 15-4-1, I think. And he's just been incredible, better than Murray. Fel, you predict that at the start, right?
Listen, a lot of stuff to touch on with this game, but Samsonov, I'm telling you.
Keep going.
Sorry. Samsonov is the starter. I said it at the beginning of the year, and I keep saying this again and again and again. Let's go back to that clip. One of these days, we're going to post that clip because it's going to happen. I said that my prediction was before the season even started, Samsonov is going to end up being better than Murray, which so far they're very similar, but I think Samsonov is having the better stretch right now. And Samsonov is only 25 years old, 24 years old, something like that. So in my eyes, I think he's going to end up being the Leafs starter for the next 4 or 5 years. So, we're going to see about that part. But he is going to be a restricted free agent this summer. So we'll see where stuff goes with that. But I can completely see him being a number one guy. He is our number one guy right now. And I think game 1 of the playoffs, we see him playing. That's my hope, at least, because I have way more trust in him than I do Murray. I can see, like, Samsonov is just, he's not like a piece of glass. He's like, he can make those saves where, like I say, I've said this before in other podcasts and I'll say it again. It's the difference between the goalie who can make all the fundamental saves that they're supposed to make and the goalie that can make the saves that nobody thinks they can make. Those game-saving saves, right? So he makes a ton of those where you think, oh man, they scored, and then he jumps across the net and he saves it. But yeah, he does stuff like that, and that's just one of the things that I took away from this game is that he's just keeping he keeps making what I'm saying. He keeps bringing it to fruition, almost like where he's proving it. So that was one of the things that I saw in that game, and then another one was just that maybe we can touch on it after, but the line switches at the end of the first, big start of the second, and they started Matthews and Marner together, and they had a great shift. They were going off in the offensive zone for a solid couple of minutes, but I don't think anyone could have predicted that it was going to be Nylander or Tavares that had 4 points each that period. I don't think if you asked anyone, oh yeah, they put the lines back together, Matthews and Marner and Nylander and Tavares back together. Which ones do you think had 4 points and which ones do you think didn't score 1 goal? You'd probably say Matthews and Marner got back and scored 4 goals together. But yeah, that Nylander, like you said, he double dipped.
Yeah, and yeah, we'll probably get into the line combinations later into the video, but let's just take a moment of silence for the Washington Capitals, who gave up both Ilya Samsonov and Vitek Vanacek their RFA rights for nothing. They got nothing in return. They just let them walk. Moment of silence. Yeah. And now, Jude, from a perspective of a goalie and the perspective of a Matt Murray trader, you traded for Matt Murray, is what I meant to say there.
I'm a trader.
Where do you stand on the goalies?
I had Matt Murray in fantasy. Is what Eric means by this. Sorry if anyone isn't in Eric's head. But what he means by that
rephrase it.
That me and Jude made a trade in fantasy. I had Murray and he traded me for Murray. That's all. That's what he's saying. No,
I wasn't a trader and I didn't burn Matt Murray's house down or anything like that. So just to clear the air. But yeah, no. I think I don't know. I think Felly saying the Samsonov in his future is definitely something to ponder about as a Leafs fan, because you look at his age and you look at his potential. He still definitely has a lot of years left in him. What he does with this team and where he goes in his future, we can only see. The thing is with Washington, he's never gone on a deep run. Like, he has the experience, but been knocked out pretty early, right? And we're used to that. So the thing is I just love Murray's deep run. That's it. That's the only thing that I love about him is his playoff veteran experience, right? It's a huge part of the game. Is a great goalie. You look at the Stanley Cup Finals and really good playoff series in the past years, right? Shesterkin, Vasilevsky, Rangers, Tampa, right? That kind of Colorado's a powerhouse. Kemper made the saves he had to make, kind of like what Felly was saying. He was just a structural goalie, but he didn't make any unreal saves. That's why he had like a 905 in the playoffs or whatever he had. But in terms of playoff goaltending, I think it's going to be a huge like I don't even know what to expect, and I still don't, because when it comes to playoffs are a different animal, right? And we all know that. That's what hockey fans are super familiarized with is playoffs. So when that comes, we'll see. But yeah, you know what? I've been a huge supporter of Murray, and I like Canadian goalies. I've never not. Same with Canadian players. There's just, as a Canadian kid, I can't not love them. As opposed to somebody from overseas, right? Just a totally different lifestyle, totally different game style, right? So I like watching Canadian goalies play, but Samsonov is making me to my words right now. So yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll definitely have to see towards playoff time. Felly, did you have an opinion on playoffs?
well, right now, I mean, in terms of goalies, if we're going to talk about playoff goalies, I mean, right now I see Samsonov. Like I said, I see him starting game one. He's getting the starts right now. He's had 3 good games. I mean, we can talk about that. I don't even want to talk about the Montreal game, but he didn't play bad that game. It was pretty he let in 3 goals. He wasn't a bad goalie that game. That wasn't his fault whatsoever. So he's a 12-0-1 at home or something crazy.
13.
He's 13-1 at home with like a 937 at home, right? His stats are looking good. Like, even on the road, he's got a few wins and he's playing well. But in my eyes, he's just the better guy to go to. He's younger. He's more agile. He's and he just has to. Goalies develop later. So Washington giving him up is really weird. For nothing is really weird. And the fact that he took a 1-year deal in Toronto, knowing that he was going to expire as a restricted free agent. Toronto knows that he's going to expire as a restricted free agent. Toronto knows what they're getting at him. He knows what he's getting in Toronto, and he could have went elsewhere for longer, you know. But he wanted to come to Toronto because he knew that he could probably win a starting job, and that Toronto's goalie situation is iffy, and that he could potentially be the guy here for a long time because he knows he's restricted. Like he can't go anywhere if the Leafs don't want him to.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a prove it contract for sure.
It's a proven contract. So if he right now he's proving to me to be a top 15 goalie in the NHL, which is what they need him to be. I would say he's he's a better goalie. I'd say he's top 10 in my eyes.
Well, both Toronto goalies are top 10 in save percentage right now. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to go off like Felly's saying, right? Washington, why is Washington letting him walk, right? Like
Washington, what happened?
what literally, bro? Vanacek, like that, it's, you can't say anything else but what happened with them, right? Like, isn't Vanacek have like 5 losses or something like that? Like, he's going nuts too. Like 20 wins and something like that. But you look at Washington, he the highest save percentage he had was, he only had 20 games played. It was in the 1920 season, 19 to 20, and he had a 913. And then he went down to a 902. And then last year he's at an 896 with 44. So in Washington's eyes, he's not a starter because he's below a 900. He had 3 goals a game, 3 GAA, right? So he's not winning them games in that sense. And they he had an above 500. So in their eyes, he
But that's
doesn't
the
look like a
weird
starter.
thing about the goalies in the NHL is that goalies are known to develop later. Like they're
Yeah.
just
So
known to develop
why
later.
give him away, right?
It also didn't help that
So
they had Dmitry Orlov as their best defenseman last year.
Yeah.
right, sure, their defense also sucked last year, but no, like this guy's a first round pick. He has had potential in the past to be a first round pick, and he was a first round pick. Um, so we'll see. Like I think he ends up being the franchise goalie, and I've said that before, but we'll see. But in my eyes, playoff time starts. Whoever starts game one, depending on the outcome, we'll figure out who starts game two. That's just
Yeah.
how it's going to be. If
Yeah.
Samsonov starts game one and wins, he will play game two.
Yeah.
If he loses game two, Murray will play game three.
Yeah.
They're just going to ride whoever's winning and whoever's playing better.
Exactly. And you know, I personally think that's perfectly fine. I've just been like for some reason just a playoff experience kind of like I don't know why I just what we're looking for is that like what did Jack Campbell do in the playoffs that we would get, oh shit, like he's a great pickup for the play, right? Nothing.
Jack
Jack
Campbell
Campbell's
had
never been there.
Jack Campbell had two great playoff appearances for the Leafs.
He did.
He
Yeah.
was
He
not
did
the
well.
issue at all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone's talking about goalie matchups, especially with that Montreal series. That wasn't the issue. They had the same stats that series. Him and Carey Price had the same stats.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and then last year, him and Vasil, he was matching up against the two of the best goalies of all
Yeah.
time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he put up the same stats as they did.
Yeah.
He had just as good a 7 games both years as those other two guys did. So Jack Campbell wasn't the issue. And honestly, I think Leaf fans and Leaf media and whatever talk about the goalies way too much because the Leafs are a really, really good hockey team. To be the
Yeah.
goalie for the Toronto Maple Leafs isn't as hard a task as people think it is for an NHL caliber goalie because you have pressure. Yes, every goalie has pressure. It doesn't matter. But when you have a really, really good team in front of you, it makes it that much easier. You can ask Jude if, from personal experience, if it's easier to play on a good team than a bad team. Your stats are going to look better. You're as much as the Leafs are a better team than the Washington Capitals. Is
Yeah.
Samsonov stats going to be better? Yes, they are because he's playing on a better team.
Mm-hmm.
I know people hate to hear it. Leafs have a better defense than the Capitals do. Leafs have a better defense than a lot of teams do.
Yeah.
No one likes to say it,
Yeah.
but they do. And this, like, look at the forwards on the Leafs. Like, they're a really, really amazing team. People hate to say it because everyone hates the Leafs for some reason, but they are an unbelievably amazing team. And to be goalie for that team, yeah, people think it would be really hard because of the market and all that, but it's actually a lot easier than people are making it out to be. I would rather be the goalie for the Leafs than let's scratch the Leafs. I'd rather be a goalie for the Avalanche than a goalie for Arizona or a goalie for Columbus, right? Because you're taking less shots.
Yeah.
There's less good chances.
Exactly.
That's why save percentage and goals against average, honestly, is like the most. It's like baseball. Like baseball, there's so many stats, but when it shows up on the screen, it says ERA, or for a pitcher, it says at bats, batting average. Batting average, I won't get off track to baseball, but batting average is just one stat out of a million stats. Goals against average and save percentage is just one stat out of a bajillion stats, and it shouldn't because it depends on the chance.
Yeah, and that
I mean, like if you're getting 50 shots from the slot and your save percentage is an 800, that's a lot different than getting 50 shots from the point and your save percentage being an 800.
That's exactly right, and that's where I wanted to also rebuttal you. Is Jack Campbell and Vasilevsky's GSAX 100% Vasilevsky? We know the saves he made. We know that didn't go in. We know that, and Jack Campbell, he had a lot of good saves. Don't get me wrong, but as you said, the Leafs defense is good. We were good in the playoffs. We except Montreal. We don't talk about that. I'm just talking about the Tampa Bay series. We were good. Like we played as a well-rounded team. We brought the Stanley Cup finalists to 7 games and 1 goal, and Nick Paul somehow scores 2 two top of the circle goals, and that's where it comes down to goaltending. Like, I'm not saying those goals were Jack Campbell's fault at all,
Listen,
but a third liner on Tampa Bay wins them the series. Can that
listen,
really happen?
like that was the issue with Anderson. It was listen, he was a fine goalie and he's a great goalie now, but I wouldn't want to be a Carolina fan with him in the playoffs. I'm telling you right now. I don't care how good Carolina's
I mean, how many
defense is.
times has he been injured since he came
He
to Carolina
lets
too?
in bad goals at bad times. He
Yeah.
let in a goal. I'll remember it because it's
DeBrusque.
engraved in my brain from DeBrusque from behind the net.
I remember, bro. I
And
remember that.
it's engraved in my brain forever because it was
We
in
were
game
at, we were at
7.
Maple Leaf Square.
And yeah, and it's just like but you just can't do that. That's the difference. You don't see Vasilevsky doing that in their two
Yeah.
cup runs. Like you just don't. Like Kemper didn't do that. You know, like
And that's why, right? It even though it's in the slightest, it does come down to goaltending. Sorry, in a sense, but it's not, and it's not statistics. Like GSXA, I think is an extremely important stat, right? Like you're saying, the extended stats, because that shows how many
what is GSXA for anyone that
It's
doesn't know,
goal
including myself.
goals saved above average. So if you have Matthews in the
goals saved
slot,
above expected.
Okay.
Save above expected. So if you have Matthews in the slot in the
So that's what you're expected to
in the
say.
slot,
Okay.
yeah, and that you're gonna have a higher goals saved above expected because Matthews is in the slot and you just saved him. And if you let that in, well, then that goes towards your goals against average. And then Matthews on a breakaway and stuff like
But
that.
it's expected to go in.
Exactly.
It's
Right.
basically how many goals you saved that were expected going.
So I think that's a huge one because that's what you're saying, like Samsonov, that makes the desperation save across the net, something like that. The thing is I see Murray do it too, but as you said at the beginning, Murray's looking fragile. Murray is made of glass, and it's starting to affect his play. I think he's starting to be a little gun shy, and if you're not going to stop the puck with 110% effort, you're not going to stop the puck, right? And if you're a little scared of getting injured, you're a little scared of this, you're not going to stop the puck. And I think that's holding Murray's game back. And honestly, if Samsonov wants that starter, Samsonov's got it for the next stretch, and we'll see how everything goes. But
yeah, we'll see.
Murray looks gun shy.
Well, long tangent on the goalies. That'll definitely have to be the title of this video. But we'll just quickly go over Willie's double dip. So none of the goals really matter. Half of them were the same because it was just a passing.
Dude, Tavares is gross. Tavares is so gross
He
right
had a
now.
I don't
really
know
good game.
why Tavares is so
Dude, he's nasty right now.
underrated.
He
Honestly,
been
bro,
quiet for a
people are
while.
like, Tavares is old and the blah blah blah. But like, bro, he's fine, man. He's fine. He's over a point per game for the last 10 years. The guy's fine, okay?
Oh, he's gross.
And then everyone like this is something. Everyone's like, oh my god, the Leafs should get Ryan O'Reilly. Oh, Ryan O'Reilly. Blah 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 blah. Dude, Tavares is literally better than Ryan O'Reilly. Oh, and then those same people are saying
in every aspect except for maybe face-offs.
and then those same people are saying, "Oh, Tavares is washed. He's slow." Blah blah blah. It's like, bro, you think Ryan O'Reilly's the answer?
Bro, people just like hating on us. Like they just love it. And I'm so glad to see a game like this against the Islanders just puts a smile on my face.
Oh yeah,
bro.
screw Islanders fans. Honestly, if you're an Islanders fan, leave. Don't listen to this anymore.
Braden's
Because
sprinting out the door.
no, because they're so dumb. They're so dumb. Like when a guy gives you 7 years in an organization, is that hard? I wonder if the camera will see that.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
But bro, like you just don't, man. And this is happening tonight. Let's talk about real news. Johnny Gaudreau going back to Calgary tonight, raining with booze. He got a penalty shot, by the way. If you guys didn't see
I saw that.
Did he snipe or
and
no?
they just
he missed the net by like a foot.
And they just booed him and booed him and booed him. And I was thinking, just like, man, if someone left, let's say Nylander leaves, I would hate that. I can't believe I even brought that up. But like, let's say Nylander leaves, right? And walks, and he could have stayed. And he goes and he plays for a different team and comes back. I'm not booing him, bro. Like he was great, you know. Like those Calgary fans are just so dumb. It's like, man,
It's just something to do. That's what it
like,
seems
man,
like.
yeah. but like just let it go. Like I
Yeah.
get it. It's one thing when it's a player that you don't like on the other team, like Rougned Odor at the Jays games. I'm keep bringing up baseball, but you guys know, like he punched Bautista in the face,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now every single time that guy's in Toronto, he gets booed
Yeah.
the whole game,
Yeah.
and that was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago that happened, and he
6? I
still gets booed.
That's all. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Time is fucking flying right now.
I was at a game this season, and he still got booed every single
Did we
time.
all not go to that game where he was getting booed together?
I don't.
We've never been to
We
the
might
game
have.
together.
I think we
Not this year. 2 years ago we did.
then last year.
Did we?
Maybe.
Oh,
But I know I was at a game this year, and it's just like that's different.
Yeah.
That's one thing, but like it's another thing, man. This guy paid for your team for 8 years, and you're gonna boo him like that? Like you cheered when he
yeah.
scored
Yeah.
3 months ago, and now you're gonna boo him? Like really? Anyway,
Mhm.
so that's another topic. But
Yeah.
Leafs had a great game. Leafs had a
Yeah.
great game.
Oh, they
Yeah.
did. Yeah. I was just gonna talk about the passing and wrap it up quickly, but yeah, it was three goals that we scored. So basically, the 3 insurance goals and the game winner were passes from behind our blue line. Hall had one of them to Matthews for the 5th goal. Samsonov had one on the power
Yeah.
play,
That was a sick
and
Yeah.
and I forget who had the other one. I don't remember, but it was incredible. I guess the Islanders are gonna probably get bagged tonight or maybe tomorrow for the terrible line changes that allow that to happen. But
Yeah.
it worked out in our favor, and I mean, huge up to the Leafs for taking advantage of that. Like you don't see that often, especially 3 times in one game. Like that's just unheard of.
Yeah,
All right, guys.
and we've made Sorokin, right? Not
Listen,
look like Sorokin, right?
people are saying that Sorokin right now is the #1 goal in the NHL.
Yeah, and we made him. I mean, his past 4 games, he has 16
pull that
goals
up.
against, but we were a huge part of that. We were a huge part of getting pucks by him with ease tonight. Like he had a couple huge saves. Don't get me wrong, he looked good, but we made him look bad. And like every time he comes into our barn, it's like a 2-1, 3-2, like low scoring, high shots, and the goalie's game, right? Tonight, Ilya S lost to Ilya S, quite frankly, right? So but all I can say is that Samsonov did 100% outplay Sorokin, and Sorokin's hot. Like he's a good goalie.
Yeah, and you know what? One last thing, underlying stars of the game. I want to say Calle Yarncroc. He's so unbelievably like, bro. This guy always in the right spot, right there. Like, yeah, Tavares and Nylander got all these points and goals and everything, but he was also on the ice doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That was a steal of a contract.
Those are guys that don't see the score sheet as much, but man, like him, Bunting, guys like that. Even I know people don't like Engvall. I've been one to say that I don't really like Engvall that much. Man, that guy carries the puck up the ice like it's no one's business.
Yeah.
He takes it from his own goal line to the other goal line like it's nothing. He just glides. Oh man, yeah. Anyway, like Yarncroc, man, we should have a full podcast on Yarncroc one day.
Literally, yeah.
Because I could talk about him for hours because he is so good and he does all the little things right, and he is on such a good contract.
Mm-hmm.
Man, and now he's slotting in as the second line left winger, which was a position that everyone was really weary about and concerned about, and now he's playing with Tavares and whoever the right winger is really well, and he's fitting really well.
I'm
Anyway.
gonna have to cut you off.